Hello friends, good day. Today we are going to discuss about the auxiliary boiler alarms and trips. This is very much necessary for the boiler safety, and as we know that boiler is a pressure vessel, and we have to have the safeties associated with it. So some of the alarms are there and some of the alarms and trips are there, so we have to know both of them. Okay, so in this video we are going to have a discussion on the auxiliary boiler alarms and trips. Here we can see that the auxiliary boiler alarms. So there are the alarms. First we can see here boiler water level low. Okay, so when the boiler water is going to be on lower side, so this is something which is very much required for the operation of boiler. So in that case the boiler must give alarm or the warning so that you can take the corrective action on time and fill up the boiler with water. Boiler water level high, this is also not a desired part, and when it is having the high water level must give alarm. Boiler steam pressure low. Okay, so this is also not desirable. That's why as come in the safety part of it, once the pressure goes low, what is the problem, why if is the combustion not proper, why the steam formation is not there, so all these things must be checked. Low feed water pressure, this is also a part of the feed water part, and maybe required to change the pump 1 or pump 2, you have to see, so the alarm must be. Low fuel oil pressure, this is the case, then after some time maybe you have the flame failure or shutdown of the boiler. So what is the reason? Is the pump filter choke, or what are the problem associated? So you have to see that. Low fuel oil temperature, so heaters are not working, or maybe you have to change the boiler fuel oil heater to 1 or 2, whatever, you can see that. High fuel oil temperature, this is also not desired part, so in that case you have to maintain the temperature. Forced draft fan, so this is related to the fan requirement. If stopped working, then FD fan 1 or FD fan 2 you have to switch. Okay, pump standby start. Suppose pump 1, feed pump 1 is running, and if automatically due to the drop in pressure or something, auto start pump number 2, this must give alarm so that you can attend pump number 1. Damper not fully open, so this basically the air fuel ratio to be adjusted, so in this case this is required to be checked. Boiler uptake temperature high, this indicates the boiler uptake fire. Not exactly, or maybe in after some time it can happen, so you have to take the corrective action on time. Control air pressure low, so with the pneumatic operations all the valves and the dampers which is going to be open, this is going to be restricted, not the correct operation will happen, so you have to see that what are the cause and you have to make it correct. Cascade tank low water level, this is very dangerous, especially and most frequently it is coming if the water is not properly filled up, or the auto functioning of the cascade tank, auto water level controller is not working, so in that case it is coming. But you should not think of that, you must check why the cascade tank water is going level low. Okay, cascade tank high salinity alarm, so boiler water salinity, that is also salinity indicators are there, and if it is high you have to check. High oil content in the boiler, that means you have to check the observation tank, and if the oil is coming into that, find out the source of it and arrest it. A smoke density alarm, this is also very much there in the boiler, and mostly all the alarms I have already discussed, and with reason and some of the corrective actions. Okay, so the alarms and trips. Okay, so this is something which is a very important part, alarms and trips. Low boiler water level alarm and trip. So if low water level alarm you have not responded, so in that case water level go down further, and low water level alarm and trip will come, so boiler will shut down. High water level, same thing will happen, and if you are not responding to the high water level correctly, then high water level alarm will come and the boiler will shut down. Boiler steam pressure high, this is going to create a critical problem, maybe your safety valve also lift. Okay, so boiler steam pressure high, alarm will come, and boiler will automatically shut down also. So alarm and trip. Low combustion air pressure, alarm and trip. Low atomizing steam pressure, alarm and trip. Flame failure, due to any reason flame failure happened, so it will give you alarm and trip. Burner not in firing position, this is also the problem. That means burner not correctly they are in firing position, so alarm and trip. High steam pressure, alarm and trip. So this is also a part of it. Okay. Now we are going to see about the explanation of each alarms and trips which we have seen in the previous list. Like we have this low water level alarm. Okay, so low water level alarm. Since the boiler is converting water into steam, therefore the consumption of water is also there. Okay, and if level is not monitored manually, a stage will occur where the water level will drop to a certain level and alarm will be seen and heard. Okay, L2, why it is written L2? That means normally pump start and pump stop is there. Okay, automatically once a certain water level reaches, pump will start, and once the certain water level reaches on higher side, then pump will stop. Okay, so once this lower side will cross down below, then the low water level alarm will come. Okay, then you have low water level alarm. So that is something which is below the low water level. Means once the low water level alarm came, then you have to respond. Okay, if delay is there or the response is not there, then L2 is not acknowledged, then level will drop further to L1, more below than the L2, and then this time you have low water level alarm and trip. Okay, so the burner will stop firing and prevent the boiler cell from damage due to excessive heat from the burner flame. Okay, then the third one is high water level alarm. When we talk about this, so this is also the alarm once the water level goes to the pump stop level, more higher than the pump stop level. Alarm will sound when the consumption of water does not matches with the intake feed water via the feed pump and water has reached to the higher level, that is your H1. So this is something which is giving you the alarm, high water level alarm. Now we are going to see high water level alarm. So this is something which is a trip, alarm as well as trip. High water level alarm and trip. If water level H1 is not acknowledged, that means the high water level alarm is not acknowledged, the feed water further goes or further rise more than H1 and goes to H2, then the high water level alarm will come and it will cutting the water supply, and the basically boiler will also stop, boiler will also trip. The feed water pump stop to prevent the drum of the boiler from excessive hydraulic pressure exerted by the feed water, which may explode the boiler drum. This is very rare part of it. Before that your safeties will take part into, and it will stop the feed pump as well as the boiler will also shut down. Okay, next is your low steam pressure. This is your alarm, just alarm. So this alarm occurs to show various cases such as the burner is not firing up into the mark, or the feed water is less in the boiler, therefore less pressure, or any combustion process which is happening and raising the steam that is not sufficient enough to raise it. Okay, so the sufficient steam is not being generated or your consumption is high. Any possibilities can be there which is related to finally result into the low steam pressure part of it. So this is the case where you have the low steam pressure alarm. High steam pressure, you have the alarm and trip. Okay, so burner will stop and it prevents the damage to the steam drum due to excessive pressure of the steam. So in this case you have the high steam pressure alarm as well as trip. Low feed water pressure. Low feed water pressure, maybe the pump will change over, feed pump 1 from feed pump 1 to feed pump 2. So due to the certain problem in the feed pump 1, it is having problem to generate the ample pressure to push the water inside the water drum. Basically the feed pump has to generate more pressure than the boiler pressure, then only it will able to feed the boiler with the water. Okay, so then what will happen, the another standby pump, you have the standby pump start and maintain the pressure of feed water. So you will have the standby pump start alarm also. Okay, remember that there is a feed check valve between the feed water pump and the drum. Of course, there is a feed check valve fitted into that. Okay, next is your low fuel oil pressure alarm. Okay, so we have again the same thing. We have the fuel oil feed pump 1 and fuel oil feed pump 2. Okay, so the fuel oil will be going with a certain pressure and temperature. So the pump will boost the fuel oil pressure for the injection, which is not generating enough pressure due to many reasons. Okay, so therefore a standby fuel oil pump is started to supplement the loss of pressure. Okay, or this occurs when the fuel is being injected into the furnace. It have been ample pressure so that the fuel can atomize completely, because we know that for the atomization of the fuel it should have the certain viscosity, it should have certain temperature, so that it will be atomized from the boiler burner and the combustion will be proper. Otherwise what will happen, it will start dribbling and the combustion will be improper. So this is something which is very important. And low fuel oil pressure, in that case again the standby fuel oil pump will start. It can, due to that also, sometimes what happened, the suction filter of the pump also chokes, or you have some other obstructions. Due to that the fuel oil is not sufficiently reaching to the burner. So this is also the causing of low fuel oil pressure. So you have, okay, now we are going to see about the low fuel oil temperature. So low fuel oil temperature, this is something which is the low fuel oil temperature lead to the large amount of unburned fuel accumulation in the furnace, and this is the high probability of explosion. Okay, so when you have low fuel oil temperature, of course it is more viscous and the atomization will not be proper. It will start dribbling into the furnace and this will cause the unburned fuel and it is accumulated in the furnace. This can lead to the backfire and explosion. High fuel oil temperature, since the fuel oil should be within the favorable temperature conditions, heating up of oil give off alarm. Okay, so excessive temperature will also cause the vapor locking and other problems associated. Low combustion air pressure, FD fans, forced draft fans are basically being used to supply the combustion air to the boiler burner for complete combustion. But when there is an alarm for the low combustion air pressure, it should be seen that there is no damage to the fan blades and there is no obstruction in the intake of combustion air. So if the FD fan is not sufficiently providing the air, then how the air fuel ratio will be controlled and the combustion will be proper. So this is also very important. And once this is there, then you have the alarm coming into picture, or sometimes you have the, okay. Now next is your showing here low atomizing steam pressure. So we have atomizing steam or sometimes atomizing air also. So in this case the steam is used as the atomizing medium. This trip will occur if any obstruction in the whole of the steam supply or the pipeline supplying the steam. So we have the atomizing steam. Basically it is for the atomization of the fuel. It helps in the atomization, or sometimes we have the air also which is atomizing the fuel. Okay, so if we have the steam pressure low atomizing, then in that case the proper atomization of fuel will not be there, and this will cause the unburned carbon or unburned fuel, or you can say accumulation of this fuel into the furnace, which is not desired, and it can lead to the backfire and explosion. So this case also it is going to give alarm and trip. Flame failure, any of the reason, you can see this is overridden during the starting up or firing of the boiler. Possibilities are there, but do not take chance. If the boiler is running and gives the flame failure, you have to investigate thoroughly. Okay, the trip occurs, this is the alarm as well as trip, to prevent the accumulation of fuel into the furnace, which may become the source of explosion if not correctly purged. So due to that only we have the boiler operations, the pre-purging and post-purging. So this is also the part when we will have the boiler operations or the boiler firing discussed, then I will explain to you guys regarding the pre-purging and post-purging. Next is burner not in the firing position. Since the burner is not in the firing position, one case may be because of the arc is not striking up between the electrode. So we have the arc developed with the electrodes. The high voltage being supplied and the electrodes will generate the arc, and there is a supply of fuel, so to prevent the accumulation and explosion. So once this is not there, that's why the alarm is coming into picture that burner is not in firing position. So there is a supply of fuel, and to prevent the accumulation and explosion, this is the trip which is being initiated into that. Okay, so if you have any questions or doubts regarding the boiler mountings which I have discussed earlier in the previous video, and this regarding the boiler alarms and trips, you can have the query. Okay, so we can have answering of this. Here is some of the predefined list, which you can say that for the alarms and shutdowns, the same which I have explained over there, which you can see for your quick review part of it. That's why it is something which is the boiler shutdowns completely. So this is also having the complete list which you can review over here, and most of the things I have explained earlier. So it is something which is the complete. You guys have understood regarding the boiler alarms and trips, and we will discuss some other topics related to boiler, that is your chemical treatment and the test which is being carried out in the next coming video. Thank you all of you.